Okay, so let's test some sound. And yeah, so how do I know if my sound is working? Testing out all these things, seeing how StreamYard works. Never used StreamYard before. This is completely new to me. So you'll have to bear with as I struggle through. Let me go to here. Oh, why are we saying ugh already? Oh, they're collars up here. Hold on 1 second. I have to throw something downstairs. All right. Okay. Hopefully I'm back now. I won't need to get up again. I've also got the brand new, what do you call it? The brand new Apple operating system. So I'm running Monterey, which is another reason why I just didn't want to use OBS just in case there's an OBS issue. Okay, let's see how my sound sounds. Oh, my sound sounds good. We are, as they say, 5x5. Okay. I'm not gonna have YouTube open because that takes up a lot of RAM there. So I'll just close that. Now the other thing I want to see is if I do. Okay, so I need to set up a what do you call it? What's that thing? Um, a Zapier, a Zap. I need to set up a Zap so that when I stream on YouTube, it posts a tweet on Twitter. I don't know if I can do that from StreamYard, like have StreamYard uh, do a tweet for me. So I'm going to figure that out myself here using a Zapparino. Also, I'm taking off these band-aids because I cut myself multiple times yesterday. I don't know, I was being very accident prone apparently, and which was annoying. Oh, wait. I hate band-aids. They are very restrictive. Okay. Uh, uh, hopefully I won't need them. But yeah, and of course they were both on my left hand, and I'm left-handed. It's just a nightmare. This one was the worst. I think I'm gonna leave my thumb one on, just because that one was the worst cut. Okay, So let's do a zap real quick. Let's set up a zap. Just thought of that yesterday, but so busy, so busy, so busy, so busy. And of course, I accidentally brought my iPad up here while it was in its magic keyboard, which I've been trying not to do. Oh, before I started streaming, I wanted to hook this up. Okay, so this is my I couldn't I just didn't have the patience to look around the house because I probably would never have found it or whatever. If I come across it in the future, then I'll have extra, Ethernet. But this is an Ethernet cable that's I think 10 feet, which should be enough for me to be able to connect my laptop and have my Griffin off the floor and behind me on my bookcase, which is what I want to do. And it's a flat white wire. Yeah, it's like a flat white wire, so that way I can lay it flat and try to like make it so that it's not as like in the way on the floor here. Not that this is a normal walkway on my right side anyway, but that's what this is. And I was gonna hook that up, but I'll do it after the stream. Just leave it there to remind me. And yeah. So hold on one second. I'm just like getting rid of things off my desk that I don't need on my desk. Okay. These are all new books that I bought. Shh, don't tell anybody. I kind of went a bit crazy and bought books this week that I really probably should. Well, one of them was a birthday present, so technically I didn't buy that book. My wife bought me Miranda's Daily Dose of Such Fun. So every day she gives sort of like something, a little missive, I guess. So today being July 3rd, let's see what it says. Today, let's reduce those bad sugars and instead think fruit. Sugar is not our mind or body's friend. Sorry if this is news to you. It's just for special treats. Buy some weird, unusual fruits. Try one you have never had before. Kumquat, anyone? Choose anything. But I do like to say kumquat. Repeat after me. Kumquat. Have fun with your funny fruit. Someone had recommended Atomic Habits, so I bought that for myself here. And it turns out the hardcover was cheaper than the soft cover. I can actually switch screens, can't I? Yes, I can. Look at that. So I got Atomic Habits here. And this was a Kickstarter. I support Michael J. Sullivan's Kickstarter. So yeah, so I have, and this is his latest, I think it's going to be a trilogy. He's going to release one every summer. So this is the first one. The next Kickstarter, I'm assuming, is going to be starting soon for 2022. He's already written all 3 books. So yeah, so I collect that. And then I watched the entirety of, I don't know if I like that. It has that dip in there. I hate the way Amazon ships books. I really do. Anyway, I was watching R.L. Stein's masterclass. I binged it in like 2 days. And among the many books that he recommends reading for, different stylistic ways of writing, one of them was Ray Bradbury's Something Wicked This Way Comes. So I have that book. And I think this one might be the one that I will be reading first when I do my official like TBR and stuff. So yeah, so because these are all like new books that I just opened or received, they're like hanging out by my desk. Okay, let's go back to this screen. So what I intend to do after I after I do my zap. I just want to get the zap done so I know that it's done and I don't have to think about it again come Monday. So let me do that first. Make a zap. Oh, this looks new. So if I'm thinking about this in the correct order, it's when I stream on YouTube a new video. No. Um, yeah, maybe. Well, maybe I'm thinking of something else. No, YouTube is the only option they have here, so let's try this one. I need to get my channel ID, so I closed YouTube a bit too quickly. Open it back up. I have to get this bunch of stuff at the end here, and then go back here and paste it there. Finish required fields. I did. Oh, there we go. Okay, continue. Set up trigger, which is we found the video. Yep. Okay, it's the new one. Sweet. Sweet. Now I want to go to Twitter and say to tweet, perchance to dream. Okay, so I want to create a tweet. I'm learning this Zapier stuff. I mean, it's great, but it's just very uh, time consuming with all the steps. So let's pick my Twitter account. Continue. Let's do the title, and then let's drop a description, and then let's do the URL. Do I have to put a space? Sometimes I feel like if I don't put a space, all like butts up against each other. And then let's do some hashtags. Okay, let's continue. Let's test and continue. A tweet was just sent. We'll turn on the Zap. So let's check my Twitter and see that it tweeted. How do I refresh the page on Twitter here? Yep. Sweet. Okay, so that now should be set up so that every time I stream on Twitter, it will automatically do a Zap. Amazing. Okay, so I can shrink this window away now. I don't need it, although I will need to check my email soon. Okay, so today, yeah, I think with you, I mean, I don't know how YouTube, I find even when you click the notification bell, and also hi, the lady writes, that it sometimes it will and sometimes it won't work, especially depending on if it's someone that you're newly watching. Sometimes it takes a while for it to register that you actually want to be notified, which is dumb because otherwise you wouldn't have selected the notification bell, right? But yeah, sometimes there are even some streamers who or some YouTubers who I watch religiously. Not only do I watch their new stuff, but because they've been around for years, I watch their old stuff, where if they do a new video, I won't get notified. Like yesterday, Mark Crilly's, he hasn't done a video in 3 weeks. And so I've been checking every Friday because he always releases a video on Friday. And yesterday I was very busy. So it was the first time in the last like 3 Fridays that I didn't look. And then I was watching someone else who I watch, because now that the betas are out, the public betas are out, all of my tech people are reviewing all of the Apple betas. I noticed that Mark Crilly, like 40 minutes prior, had released a video, and I wasn't notified anywhere. Like usually I get an email with notifications to say a new video has been uploaded. I didn't even get that. So I don't know. I feel like YouTube needs to make a better point of how the notifications bell works, because otherwise what's the point of having it if you're going to be picky and choosy on when I actually get notified? Like sometimes I get an email saying this video has been uploaded, sometimes I don't, sometimes I get a notification on my phone, sometimes I don't. It's weird. Oh, I need to get more water. I'm already going to finish that before I even take my pills. Oh, I'm thinking about doing the same with Zapier for Conduit and a few other things. So once it's done, less time spent marketing. Yeah, I know. I have the free Zap version. So I think you only get like 5 Zaps to set up, like 5 Zaps that you can set up when you have that. And I think like 1,000 or something like that a month where it'll actually do a Zap every month. So that's something to consider when you're doing something like for Conduit. if you're going to use the free version versus paying for it, because my wife actually pays for Zapier and she has to for her business, and I think it's like $20 or $30 a month to do Zapier, but she's got like 40 zaps, and it's doing stuff constantly for her, so it's money well spent. For me, I mean, I have it doing two for me right now. One of them is the tweeting whenever I put an Instagram image up, because the tweet.photo doesn't seem to be working for me anymore, which is annoying. So I had to figure out how to do it via Zapier, and now I just set this one up. So I've got two. Um, but in any event, so what I'm thinking of doing, first of all, let me get rid of this banner because I don't need it anymore. I think I'm getting the hang of using StreamYard. StreamYard's another one where I'm using the free version, right? So what that means is I only get, I think, 10 hours, 10 streaming hours a week. Oh, not a week, a month. No, not 10. I think it's 20, because I was intending on doing 24 hours of streaming a month, but now I have to rethink that, because according to StreamYard, they only give you 20 hours worth of streaming that I can do a month. And I was going to do 6 hours a week, 2 hours each day that I stream. But if I can only do 20 hours with the free version, then that means I have to lose, two of my pre-planned live streaming days, or take two of those live streaming days, and instead of doing 2 hours, just do 1 hour. So we'll see. This July is kind of like a test run on how I'm going to do this, because again, it's YouTube that I'm exclusively on now, which means it's not the same rules as it would be on Twitch, which is I'm used to streaming for 3, 4, 5 hours, but for YouTube I have to rethink um, how I'm going to do this and stream less, not more. Um, Also, I don't think I can connect. Let me check. Um, and just because the nature of YouTube, it's not a streaming platform. It's a different platform. So with it not being a streaming platform, that means streaming um, for, or at least one, if you're by yourself, one person by themselves streaming for more than 2 hours is not a positive. That's more of a negative. Oh, it's only a negative if you're not big. Like if you're a big streamer, then maybe you could get away with streaming 3, 4, 5 hours because you've got hundreds of, viewers. But me being brand new, um, can't do it. I've got to play taxi and pick up my nephew. You mean pay taxi? Or play taxi as in like the yeah, which is the reason why I left Twitch, and I'm exclusively on YouTube, is because I want the difference. Oh, right. Got it. I get it now. You have to be a taxi driver. Got it. I'm looking, where is the place on Discord where, oh, I found it. I found it. Yeah, I wish Discord had oh wait, they do. Had a thing so that when I'm on YouTube, it would show it the same way it shows it when you're on Twitch. You know what I mean? Where you could display it live as your status thing. Although, why does it do it for one and it doesn't for the other? Whoops, I didn't mean to do that. Oh, look who just came on the scene. Speak of the devil, Travis just came on. Yeah, unfortunately, when I'm streaming now, it's not going to show it on my when I'm like on Discord the way it would. Um, yeah, because it normally I wouldn't even have to do that because when you're on Twitch, it does a little TV symbol thing, and if someone clicks on it, they can see that you're live. Uh, I don't think Discord does that for YouTube. Um, I wish they did though. Okay, so what I've been working on, and I don't know, I don't think I can show this screen the way I'm showing Scrivener, like in a triple split screen view thing. Um, I'd have to change the window that I'm sharing, I think. Uh, so yeah, I made notes for myself for the major changes that I'm making with this story that I started writing um, like over a month and a half ago. And then I had to take a bit of a break because I was taking these medications, which were, uh, you know, making me go a bit loopy. Um, and so I wrote down these notes because I've been, watching these masterclass things, which are being very helpful to me, and I'm doing all this stuff. And so I want to, well, not I want to, I have to do a redo on the outlines. So, um, and I did some major changes. Like even this is already outdated. So this is like my changes update for June. I'm actually now going to do a changes update July. Um, I don't want to necessarily copy over because there might be some, nuggets in the June one that I don't want to forget. So I'm just going to copy and paste the notes from my notepad in here. It'll just make it easier for myself. It's notes that are in no particular order or reference or anything like that. I think that's all. Yeah, that's all I need for my regular notes. So I'm going to now reformat this because I don't want it to be like this. Actually, on here, let me check. So there's a font that Michael Sullivan uses that I want to use, and he actually mentions it. Like he gives it an entire page in the book, and I can't remember if it's in the front or the back. I think it's in the back of the book. About the type. Yeah. Let me see if I have access to that type font. One thing that's a bit annoying about StreamYard that I will say is that I can't use it on Safari, and I wish that I could because I don't. I've been trying not to use Chrome or Firefox, but because it doesn't work on Safari, I was forced to download Chrome. Um, and yeah, so I'm hoping that at some point in the future, StreamYard, if you hear me, um, that it would be compatible with Safari so that I can remove Google Chrome off my computer. Thank you so much. Okay, so let's search for this font here. Got it. Now it says it's active. Oh, because it's called Adobe Caslin. Here we go. That's why I didn't see it. You little trickster. Oh, we hope if I select all the text before I do that. Why is it in bold? Good heavens. I don't like. Oh. Wait a minute. Is that the only option for it? That can't be right. Let me check. Yeah, I should have access to. I have to actually click these. I don't know how quickly they become available here. Do I have to close out and come back in? There we go. Regular. Thank you. Okay, it was instantaneous. Whew. Let's see. Is this the back button? It is. Okay. I think this is the one actually that I want. That the Adobe Caslin is a bit different. That's what I was checking just now. There's King's Caslin, Adobe, and then there's the LTC Caslin Pro. I think the LTC Caslin Pro is the one that I want. Okay, so let's come back in here and let's now search for that one. I should have just activated it. I don't see it here. Here it is, LTC Caslin Pro regular. Let's do a bigger size just so that I can see what the heck I'm doing. Okay. So this is the font that I'm going to be using in my book. I'm going to make it a little bigger because this is just notes. I'm going to add it to favorites. Oh no, not this one. I'm going to add the other one to favorites. Back up. I want to add this one to favorites. All right. Sweet. So now we're cooking with gas. So I'm going to today start writing two, you heard that right, two, not one, but two outlines. I have to do two different timelines. So because I'm doing past and present, that means I have to do a outline of the past and then an outline of the present. So my thought is I'm going to take the Blake Snyder beat sheet and do those beats, those 14, 15 beats for the past, and then those 14, 15 beats for the present. And then I'm going to alternate the chapters back and forth. So I will essentially end up, I hope, with about 30 chapters where, one chapter is the past, one chapter is the present. So essentially, if you were to read them every other chapter, the story would be sequential for the past chapters as well as for the present chapters. And how I'm going to differentiate the past from the present, I haven't decided yet. If I'm literally just gonna, because initially I wanted to have actual chapter names for each chapter, and I think I still want to do that. And then I think what I might do is under the chapter name, in italics, put past or present, so that way the reader knows, and eventually they'll realize that it's really just going back and forth between past and present. It's not like I'm doing several, present chapters in a row and then several past chapters in a row. That would be a bit much, right? Okay, hold on one second. I got an email I need to action, or at least I need to look at. Why is this thing moving so slow? Am I not connected to the internet? I am. Okay, here we go. Oh my gosh, stop with the pop-ups. Okay, so regular post office is delivering this. Really? Origin is in New Jersey. So it'll actually get here pretty fast because it's in New Jersey. Okay. I'm not too mad about it then that they have the post office delivering it as opposed to like. What is that sound? I might actually turn off the AC up here. It's a little bit cold. Quickly now. My computer is moving hella slow, and I think it's because I have freaking Google Chrome open. Hate Google Chrome. Hate. I am using the word hate for Google Chrome. All right, so while I work, I'm going to listen to some music that you can't hear, but I can. Just because I need some music. All right, so let's set up some outline stuff here. And major notes are also no longer relevant, but all right, so let's add another thing here. We are going to do for the sake of time, I'm not going to do a simple and a detailed outline for both past and present. What I am going to do this. And I'm going to move all of this out of here. Okay, it is way too cold up here now. I I can't even believe I'm saying that, but the AC that we just installed last night is working all too well. So I am going to go either turn it down or turn it off because it's like I'm freezing and I need to not be freezing to do what I'm doing. Um, so give me a second. Way too cold. Ooh. Okay, that should be better. I turned it off completely. Hmm. I'm trying to organize my windows on the screen here. Okay, in order for me to do this, I had to open 3 windows here. Yeah, so that I could see the beat sheets for myself here. Oh, I need to, damn, hold on one second. Now we're going to do the image. I'm trying to decide if I want to go back and forth or if I want to just do one full on and then do the other one full on. And I also don't want to lose too much of what I've already written because I've already written about like 20,000 almost words and I don't want to scrap that, right? Um, I'm hoping I can salvage some of those chapters, even though I will have to rewrite them just for the um, sake of the tenses that I'm doing. I may have to rewrite some of the past chapters, which is what I technically would have already written, all the stuff that happens in the past. The new stuff I write will be stuff for the present because I that's a new change that I am making. Interesting. Oh, looks like someone is back with an upside down smiley face while listening to his children playing outside. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, the Zap is working. I checked my Twitter, so it tweeted, and I saw someone I think Brenna retweeted it, so it's working. And it included the hashtags. I might want to change up what the hashtags are, but it's working. My writing is going good. I'm just jumping around a bit because I'm trying to figure out the best way to do this dual outline. I'm doing two outlines at once. Um, One that's going to be on an outline of the past, and one that's an outline of the present. And so there's going to be a lot of like parallels. In the past outline, he's remembering and recounting his youth. And then in the present outline, my main character is simply just dealing with a past evil that he thought was gone and he's discovering has returned. And it's that past evil returning which is causing him to retell, recount, and remember his past when he first encountered this evil, which is the villain of the story. Yes, very, very complex. But I feel in my bones that this is the only way to do it. Like I wrote like 20,000 words, and essentially I'm scrapping 20,000 words and starting over again. So yeah, so I'm redoing it because I had a moment of pause for myself where something wasn't clicking with the story as I had been already writing it. And so I decided to take a break, take a pause, deal with some medical stuff, think about what was going wrong with the story. Um, I quickly realized what the issue was. And in fixing that, I knew that I needed to make some other changes. And then like I've mentioned before, was watching a masterclass of R.L. Stein, which was extremely helpful to me in terms of thinking about cliffhangers and red herrings and twists in the plot, which up until I had seen that, I realized I had next to none, uh, which would not work at all. So Um, the pause was a good one, right one, and so now I'm coming back to it with fresh eyes, and the intention is to tell the story much differently. I mean, the one of the main changes I made is the series name is different. It's no longer Son of River, which was the original series name. It's now called Born from Blood. And when I made that change, it changed the uh, main plot line, and almost not exactly the main character. The main character, Son of River, remains the same, but the core aspect of the story is no longer really about him, but more about the villain or the creature in this case, which is the history and the backstory um, of the Wendigo and the evil that lives in the Wendigo, and how that evil is defeated and overcome, and that's why it's called Born from Blood, because that's how Wendigos are created. They are created from the blood of a uh, uh, of a close relation. And in doing that, I realized that I needed the ability to talk about the past and have a present. It wasn't working to just do it from his childhood forward. I felt like I needed a bit more dynamic range. So I decided that I needed him to be in his mid to late 40s and living his normal life, but then thinking about his past, and then having the reader uh, have some sense of curiosity as to how someone who in his past and his youth was a member of a very traditional tribe, and is now the owner of a tavern in, normal society. How did he get from that to this, and then all that happens in between. um, yeah, and so it's no longer going to be four books. I think it originally was supposed to be four books. It's now going to be a trilogy, which is going to hopefully um, actually make each story a little shorter and happen much faster. When it was four books, I felt that I was taking too long, and the pacing was not right. So it's going to be a trilogy. I'm able to remove a lot. I'm not going to be spending so much time on the trials like I was originally. Um, the cast of characters now have to have two sets of character sheets, one when they're in the past and they're, in their teens and younger, and then another set when they're in their, mid to late 40s, 50s, and older, because you're a different person in each one, right? So I have to have now a character sheet for my main character, two of them, one when he was younger, one when he's older. So there's a lot that I changed in, doing all of these things, but the story is just going to happen a lot faster, and the action is going to happen a lot faster. I can already see the ending. Like, I've already decided what the ending of the first and second book is. Um, and all of those pieces are really starting to fall into place where they didn't before. So I feel like I'm headed in the right direction. I wouldn't have taken the pause, and I wouldn't have made such a drastic change to the story if I didn't feel um, like it was going to be beneficial to the story. And I feel like this is so much better. It also ages the story up, because originally I felt like it was headed in the young adult realm, and I really wasn't trying to make a young adult book. I was trying to make just a straight up fantasy for adults, and there wasn't enough adults. uh, and actually, the opposite is true. There was more adults, and he was the only young person. And so another change I made is um, he has a friend who I took one of the characters and I made them his age instead of making them three times his age. So Son of Oak is now the same age as Son of River. In fact, I might even make him 1 or 2 years younger. And then I also gave Son of River a pet, so he's going to have a pet snake. There's a lot of little nuances of his past that I changed so that it makes him more interesting. It makes everything around him more interesting. And then the present stuff is I don't even need to worry about that, because that is all going to be fast paced and moving, because it starts with this woman being chased by what she calls a monster, and them having to capture the monster, almost like he's assembling the Avengers. And so what's going to happen is, right away in the first third of the book, you're going to meet all of the young people as they're older, and you're going to start wanting to see if all of the people from his past survive and live and are a part of his Avengers group in the present, like who's missing, who may not be missing, starting to put names together to say, okay, when he's talking about his past, this is that person, but they're younger, all of these things. So that the present timeline is going to be like so fast paced. It's the past one that's not going to be as fast, because he's going to be learning these things, being that he's going to be a child, how he's going to be brought in to learn about these things, why the adults would allow him to be present and in the same area while they're discovering that there is a Wendigo among them, trying to solve the mystery of who that Wendigo is, the army, all of these things. It's all just gonna come together. Where did my notes go? Oh, here we go. Okay. One of the others has to be, I just thought of, who is on this list? Yeah, one person is missing. Um, and I don't like the name that I gave this person. They wouldn't be alive 30 years later. Now that I think about it, it's gonna have to be someone else. So let's just put what their title would be. Um, Whoever the commander of the king's army is going to be a member of this team. And this is all taking place in the kingdom of Ebenthorn, if I'm remembering correctly. So the king is somewhat aware of this, or at least this particular king is aware of the situation because they were king at the time. Uh, I think I'm going to have it be the same king from 30 years ago. They're just much older now. So I'm trying to. That's the other thing when you're dealing with past and present, you have to think about what is this button? Oh, that's the spotlight search button. Really? Is that supposed to be an hourglass or a magnifying glass? I need to fix that. It doesn't look like it. It looks like a chat bubble. Anyway, so I need to continue to figure out ages because I don't have it for everyone. Like I put that it's whatever their past age is plus 30 years. So, because I'm doing it from the point of view of my main character who is 15 at the time when he's remembering things from his past. So I have to think in my mind, how old are all of these people? And then if I age them up 30 years, um, would they be young enough, quote unquote, to still be like actively helpful to him in the present when they discover the return of a past evil that they thought they had defeated? And so if they're too old in the present, that may make things a bit difficult if he needs to assemble this, this army of Avenger type people to uh, come back together and battle this evil once more to hopefully do away with it forever, right? Um, so yeah, I have to think about that. So how old would the king have been um 30 years ago? Could he have been like in his 20s so that now he's 50, or do I want him to be an old graying gentleman who is knocking on death's door? Would that be helpful to the storyline in the present, that maybe the Wendigos are rising back again because they have an in, or they found an opportunity to possibly take over and uh, uh, take over the kingdom and all of these things? Like what would benefit the story better, if it's the same king, if it's a different king, if it's an older king and he's dying? And at the same time, there is a character originally in my original vomit draft that I wrote where I introduced the iron rope in, and there's an entire sequence that happens in there with this guy who we meet, who, similar to what my new opening chapter is going to be, where he, is starts talking about how he found this mutilated body on his way to the tavern. Some monster must have ripped it to shreds, and he's there with his nephew, I think, and a cousin, and they're talking about this in talks. Who is one of the members of the Avengers? He's there and he hears it, and he recognizes the signs that it might be a Wendigo. And so that person who tells him about this mutilated body and everything, that person happens to have a close position to the king. They work in the king's castle, in his vicinity, if you will, and so they become friends, Tox and this guy, and I think I named him Drobin. I think that was his character name in my original Vomit draft, which I don't like. I want to change that so desperately. So I'm thinking in my mind, if I keep that character then, and let's say he's like 32, he would be like 62 in the present. Technically, he could still be alive, but in his 60s, like, is that too old? Is he gonna still be, fighting and throwing bows, as they say? These are things to consider because that would be who this person is. Um, Possibly that he will have, risen in the ranks, and so in the past, he would have just been a low level person, just in working in and around the king, but then eventually would have gotten in his good graces over these 30 years, so that now he's the commander of the king's army. Um, Right. When you think about fantasy, it's like they're usually pretty young and they're fighting and stuff. But I want to keep some of the people from the past into the present because they're going to have the history and they're going to have the knowledge, and they're going to be like remembering and knowing the severity of the situation, right? And so I need to think about, like, because there are some people here who are going to be younger. You see, like, originally, if you look down here, I didn't even scroll. But these are the people who I actually end up killing, and I put in which book, which where they die. And so Drobin is here, and I actually kill him off in book two, um, in the past timeline. So I have to think about uh, if I want to keep that. Um, and then I do have right here, in this case, I have it as a girl, but I think I'm going to change the gender to a boy. I'm not sure yet. But yes, definitely Son of Oak has a child. Son of Oak doesn't live, unfortunately. His I age him down and he becomes a friend, the best friend of my main character. And what's going to happen is, um, in book, this is going to be like the one of the sad moments, because I'm hoping that people are really going to like Son of Oak and like the friendship and the bond that these two boys have, because they have a similar uh, upbringing and background, in their life. And then what's going to happen is Son of Oak is going to end up getting killed, probably in sometime in either book two or the final book. And we are going to, I'm trying to figure out if there's a way for me to keep it a secret, or to not reveal who the parents are of one of the three children that Son of River has, because he's got three kids with him, but all three of them are not his. Two of them are his, and one of them is always going to call him Uncle River. And so I'm trying to figure out if there's going to be a way for me to be very strategic about when I mention who that kid's father actually is, and that their father is not there. We're going to quickly realize that Son of Oak is not going to be there in the present timeline, and it's going to be because we lose Son of Oak at some point in the past timeline, just a bit later on in the story, and then who her mother is, because her mother is actually going to still be alive. But I won't spoil that part. But the reason why she's not with her mother is because of what happens um, in that scenario, unfortunately. So she's, let's just say, she's not fully alive. And that would actually be here. Enola is going to be the mother, and Son of Oak is the father. And so, yeah, so I have to, like, think, okay, the past timeline is this age, the present timeline is this age. this is when, baby making happens. Like, if they have a child at this point, how old would the child be fast forwarding, all of these things, and they all have to make sense in the timeline, because otherwise it's going to confuse the reader to be like, wait, how is this kid like only 10 years old if this happened and that happened? And so yeah, so if I don't have the age and the timeline right, it's just not going to work. And so as I'm doing this, I'm thinking about that as well. I might actually need to create some sort of, either on Photoshop or something, some sort of timeline for myself, and do like past and then do present, and then for each character write what important thing happens to them across the 3 books, and where in the past or present timeline it happens. I think that's the only way. Um, and then like have this big map for myself up somewhere that I can visually see it, and I don't trip over myself as I'm going from the past to the present, because I can see that happening very quickly. But one of the things that I did right off the bat was decide who was going to make up this group, this band of people who are going to come together and decide to battle the evil. Because I didn't want it to be too many people and I didn't want it to be too few, but it also needed to be certain kinds of people who had either influence, power, respect, physical fighting abilities. They had to be able to actually battle and fight the forces of evil here. um so I had to like put all these things together. Okay, so let's jump back to my present outline here. Okay, so he says the others, and then this window will not stay in the forefront. I wish it would, because it keeps disappearing on me. You know what? Let me put it up here, and then maybe I can find it faster. What your story is about, the message, the truth. Usually it is spoken to the main character. Okay, yeah. So I already know what the theme is. So theme stated is And then something else I have to keep hidden from the reader. Another, like, this is how the story ends, because this book is called "Its Claws Are Sharp as Nails," and you think that it's simply because I'm telling you what a Wendigo is, and you're just learning the history of it, but that's actually not the reason. The reason it's called "Its Claws Are Sharp as Nails" is because it's the probably, and I'm probably doing it a bit too early, but it has to happen in the first book, and it's going to be how the first book ends, is the biggest like OMG moment of the entire arc of the series. And it's what makes my main character the main character and so important and an integral part to defeating the Wendigo and officially like being the only one who is able to do what must be done. And it's because he is part Wendigo. Um, and I reveal that, or you find that out in the end of the first book. And what makes that so um, like absolutely insane is because halfway through the first book, you're going to learn how someone becomes a Wendigo. And so you're quickly going to be in an OMG moment when you hit the end of the book and you realize that he becomes part Wendigo, because in order to become that, it's called Born from Blood, right? You have to kill and drink the blood of a close relative, and by close relative I mean it can only be a mother, father, sister, brother. That's it. It can't be a cousin, it can't be an uncle, it can't be a child, it can't be like a stepfather. It can only be one of the four. You kill one of the four and then you drink their blood, and then there's a whole ritual thing, chant thing that you do. There's other stuff, but the main crux of it is the killing of a close relation. And so at the end, that's what happens. And it has to happen in order for him to do what must be done, which is to be able to take on and embody um, part of what a Wendigo is in order to kill and be able to uh, infiltrate and kill the Wendigos that exist. Um, and so it's a pretty big deal, because you know the reader's not going to see that coming until it happens, because it already you're going to know in in the first part of the book, his father died when he was not even 1 years old. So he doesn't know his father. He never, he has no memory of his father because he was just a baby when his father died. And his sister gets assassinated halfway through the first book. She's assassinated by the chief of the tribe that he is a member of. And then, so that only leaves his mother. He doesn't have any siblings. So uh, that's the only person then that he can, kill and drink the blood of in order to do what must be done. So the ending of the book is going to be quite outrageous, and we're going to start in the present chapter, but the last chapter is actually going to be a past chapter. And that's going to be the ending scene, is going to be him literally in the past transforming into a Wendigo. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to describe the transformation, where the last line is going to be, its claws are sharp as nails, where he's going to have these claws, and that's going to be the end of book one. So really, the first book is going to be about how my main character becomes the very thing that he needs to destroy, and why. We'll learn that in book two. But yeah, that's because I needed something a reason for him to do that, and he's going to it's going to be a necessary evil, if you will. um and I won't go into that whole scene. It's going to be a really like emotional, like crazy scene I came up with a few days ago when I was driving with my wife, and we were talking about it out loud. And I realized how I needed to make that work, how that would work. Um, that moment takes place, but he's going to learn the history of his father and the fact that he possesses a gene or a trait or a thing he inherits from his father who he never met, and he doesn't know. And that's why he is so he's the only one who can do this thing and only end up uh part Wendigo and not total, because a Wendigo basically is pure evil, no soul, no redeeming qualities. They are without morals, without anything. But even though he does the ritual and he can turn into a Wendigo, he still has thought, consciousness, a soul. So he possesses the ability to not go full on Wendigo. And that his ability to do that, he gets from his father, and he will, find that out as well along, the journey that he's on. Um, and it's likely going to be his mother that explains that to him. I haven't decided yet who that's going to. There's so many people in his life that will know that and and can fully explain that to him. So I haven't decided yet if his mother starts to explain it to him and never gets to tell him the full story. So he, might get it from Tox. He could get it from Elder Cloud. Like there are a lot of people in his life who will know the story of his father and be able to tell him that story. So who tells it to him, and if he finds out at the end of book one or the beginning of book two, is still up in the air. But that's definitely going to be a thing that happened. After the theme stated. Clearly, I'm doing one timeline first, and then I'll do the other timeline. I thought I was going to go back and forth, but I think I need to do it one at a time. Yeah, so this has to be the who attacked. Real sinister stuff. Okay. So that's gonna be that moment. Okay, so I have just a few minutes left. I want to make sure that I don't go over time. So I'm gonna actually stop writing here before I get too into it. I will write what the break into two is gonna be though, because I don't want to forget it in my mind. Hmm, I can't do what I wanted to do here. I have to rethink that. I was gonna have it that he turns into a Wendigo and infiltrates and attempts to find out where the three kids are and all of these things. But I just realized I can't have him do that because I don't want the reader to know that he is part Wendigo until the end of the book, right? So um, I'm gonna have to figure out a different way to get around that, and I will think on that this weekend, and then hopefully have an answer when I return to outlining on Monday. So my goal for let's see what this screen looks like. Interesting. So my goal moving forward is going to be um, streaming Monday, Wednesday, Friday, about 2 hours each stream, where I'm going to do at least two, if not three, sprints, writing sprints, and then like 5 to 10 minute break in between. So that's going to be my goal starting Monday. Um, Although this week is going to be a bit different because I'm not going to be full on writing chapters. I'm still going to be like outlining and character sketching and stuff like that. I'm going to try to do all of the outlining and all of the character sketching by this week so that the following week I can officially start writing chapters and get that going. But I'm not holding myself to any hard deadline or anything like that. So we'll play it by ear, but for sure I'm not going to be streaming more than 2 hours. I'm always going to end my stream just under 2 hours. um, and I'm going to have to really make sure that I put all of my eggs in that basket because I'm not going to be streaming for a long time. Typically I would be, and so I talk, I spitball, I do whatever, but now I'm just going to make sure that work gets done because 2 hours is all I got. And I'm hoping that that actually improves my writing considerably. So let me do this. Okay. So I'm going to end my stream here. I think I'm getting used to how StreamYard works. I will continue to use it, although, like I said, I wish that they would make it compatible with Safari so I don't need to have Google Chrome on my computer. But, you know, I guess beggars can't be choosers. So thank you, the lady writes, for showing up. I appreciate it. And I will catch you guys on Monday. Have a happy, 4th of July if you'll be celebrating that tomorrow. I will be on Monday, 8 till about 9:30, 10 o'clock. Um, and I will be continuing this outlining stuff and hopefully getting the past and the present outlines done in record time. So I will catch you guys on Monday. Peace.